Warning. This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I got to get something off my chest. We're going to talk a little bit about rate cuts, and then we're going to talk about Bitcoin, of course, look at the charts and see what's going on as always. I wanted to talk about this because I continuously see this thing all over my feed at the moment, and I know it's probably a meme and maybe I need to lighten up, but at the same time it reminds me of two things and it is completely absurd. So I want to point at the two things it reminds me of, and then I want to explain why this whole thing is super absurd. First of all, it reminds me of the number of times that I see people rubbing their hands together, cheering on and championing a global deflationary bust or recession, the greatest crash since 1929, so that they can short the top, okay? And the reality is, if you're in this camp of people, okay, maybe just check yourself a little bit. I don't think anyone should be championing a global recession, a deflationary bust, and perhaps the worst crash that we've seen since 1929. A lot of people also seemingly confuse the fact that I am calling for this kind of thing with me wanting or desiring to see this thing play out, okay? I've said many times, I do not want this thing to play out. It's not about clout. It's not about being right or wrong. It's far easier for me to make money if this thing keeps going up only forever and I just keep buying the cycle lows, okay? That makes my life far easier. The reason I put this sort of content out all the time, the reason I tune in every day is because if this really is going to continue to play out as expected, which it has been now for the entire time I've had the channel, I want as many people as possible to be aware of it and to understand how they can protect themselves, their families, and their capital from such events if they are indeed going to occur. But remember, okay, this is not something I'm cheering on, and I don't think anyone else should be as well, okay? Nobody cares that you're going to make $2,000 short in the SPY, okay? Nobody cares, because people are going to lose their houses, children are going to starve, pensioners are going to have their pensions blown up or stolen from them, your friends and family are going to have their bank accounts and life savings taken from them potentially, okay? This is not a joke. So if you're one of these people that kind of rubs your hands together and says, oh, good, I can't wait to short the top. Well, maybe just think to yourself, perhaps it would be better to be optimistic, bullish, and not put money ahead of everyone else's well-being. The other thing this reminds me of is back when we were at 16K for the lows for Bitcoin, there was a whole heap of people cheering on 12 or 14K so that they could go all in. And then it came to light a little while after that the average bid size down there was $700. And this is not me clowning on people that only have $700 to invest or are new to markets or anything like that. This is just simply putting into perspective that the reason those lows never came for Bitcoin is because those lows were being waited for by people that didn't understand cycles, that didn't understand positioning in the market, and that didn't understand the risk at that time of 16K Bitcoin was to the upside, not the downside. And so, again, this may well just be a meme and perhaps I need to lighten up. But I've seen a whole heap of people commenting on this, and I've even seen people saying that they were pleased. They were pleased this thing happened so that Bitcoin can now go to 250K, okay? And one, that is disgusting, frankly, okay? If money is your god, if you are happy to make money at the expense of something like this happening, and all you care about when you see something like this is, oh good, now my Bitcoin and crypto bags can pump, okay? Then I hate to break it to you, but your god is money. And that is not a good place to be. When people say money is the root of all evil, okay, that's what it means. It means you don't care what happens so long as you get to make more money. That is not a good place to be. Now, I understand I'm a trader and my entire job is built around turning some money into some more money, okay? But money has no value to me. God comes first. All glory be to God. And I don't care, okay? I don't cheer this kind of thing on, okay? Just so that I can have my Bitcoin bags pumped. Now, I'm not trying to take the moral high ground here. There is a very important lesson here. And that lesson is, and I say this a million times, but still people for some reason don't seem to understand it or grasp it, okay? These cycles are in control. Everything else is at their mercy, okay? The cycles are in control. Everything else is at their mercy. Now, the temptation is to say, we were coming towards a cycle low, we got a bounce, and it was catalyzed by this whole event. And a lot of people think that if this had happened here instead of this, okay, then Bitcoin would have just continued to crater to 30K. And I'm here to tell you that is absolutely, completely, 100% bogus. The cycle lows were bottoming, both a daily and a weekly cycle. This bounce that we're getting now out of that cycle low was guaranteed to happen one way or the other, okay? And here's how we know, okay? So we have a decline into a cycle low and then a bounce. Normal and to be expected, the Camel Crew well on top of this for weeks in advance. But you've got your normies out here in the wild, your average Joes, your people that are brand new to markets, people that don't understand cycles, saying, well, the reason we got this bounce is because this is what happened, okay, not this. But I am here to tell you again, the cycles are in control, everything else is at their mercy. If this had have happened, okay, instead of this, then what we would have done is append this narrative to the cycle low. And the narrative, instead of it missed, now Bitcoin can pump, the narrative, if it did not miss, okay, would have simply been they took out the person that was pro-Bitcoin, they don't want us to own it, better buy it before they try to shut it down completely. So again, it is the cycles that are in control and everything else is at their mercy. On the way down, remember, every dip has its narrative. Germany is selling Bitcoin, Mt. Gox, FUD, all of that good stuff. And now on the way up, people are trying to explain away the price action using this. And again, I am here to tell you, this is completely irrelevant, okay? The cycles are outcome independent, the cycles are in control, and everything else is at their mercy. So perhaps I just need to lighten up, perhaps it's just a meme, but I really had to get that off my chest. We essentially say the same things every single cycle low, okay? We do this over and over again. They serve to reset and flush the sentiment, every dip has its narrative, and then something is perceived as a catalyst to drive it higher. But if that was true, okay, then why is it that these catalysts turn up perfectly evenly spaced apart, okay? It's because the cycles are in control and everything else is at their mercy. Moving on, Kevin here, I don't know if he's part of the Camel Crew, but thinking about cutting, okay? And Powell said a whole heap of stuff that has gotten people assuming that they're going to be cutting rates very, very soon. As you know, I do not care what this man says. I don't think his words carry any weight at all. But the Atlanta Fed flexible price core CPI is now at minus 1.9% year over year, which is amongst the lowest level ever. It's deflationary and it's minus 2.8 percentage points below the 2010s average. Now, it's also at similar levels to where it was in December 2008, back when CPI was plus 0.1% year over year. So the Fed was late to hike on the way up, and now it is already late to cut on the way down. Goldman know this, as they are out here calling for a July cut. And they say it probably seals the case for adjustments to cuts to start soon. While September remains our baseline, we see a solid rationale for already cutting in July. As it stands, the CME currently has us at over 93% probability we are going to be remaining paused in July's meeting. But clicking out to September, we have now 100% probability of seeing cuts in September. Meanwhile, DT is out here warning Powell not to cut rates before the change of US government. And it begs the question, doesn't it? Why doesn't he want them to start cutting rates already? And the answer is simple, okay? The answer is because DT knows that just like the prior three instances, when they start to cut rates, the stock market and risk and Bitcoin and crypto in general are all going to top within about 2 months of the onset of that cutting cycle. So it makes a lot of sense to me that perhaps they do drag this thing out to September. That gives right around 2 months until the change of government for the top to come in. And then, of course, it will all be blamed on the change of government, okay? I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw them do a surprise cut in July, for them to pull the change of government over, for them to pull it forward a couple of months, just like we've seen in other places like Europe and here in the UK as well. But either way, whether it's July, whether it's August, whether it's September, whenever these cuts come in, we know that we have got around 2 months or less until the major tops come in for the stock market and for risk assets and likely for crypto as well. A wild, wild, wild time to be alive. Over in the world of Bitcoin, okay, Bitcoin is back above its short-term holder cost basis. Very, very, very bullish. Speaks to further upside for Bitcoin in the not too distant future. And the question I want to ask you here is, are you bullish enough? Okay, because as of 2022, the global wealth sat at 455 trillion. It is likely much, much, much higher today. And if Bitcoin could capture only 1% of that, one coin would be worth $200,000. If it could capture 5%, that would give us $1 million Bitcoin. Now, let's be really clear. I don't think we get anywhere close to 1 million this cycle. I think that comes next cycle, but I am certainly prepared to see 200k and maybe even slightly more than that. I know a whole heap of people think that this is nonsense. A whole heap of people don't even think 100k is possible. They think 85, 90 is the most. And as ever, all we can do is take it one day at a time. But as it stands right now, I remain cautiously optimistic that we are going to see numbers that most people are simply ill prepared for. Also, this dip having its narrative, of course, was Germany FUDing, was Germany selling, was Mt. Gox FUD. Germany sold all of their Bitcoin for around $54,000. But if they'd waited just 2 days, they could have made an extra $3 billion. Again, though, this is not the explanation for the dip, okay? The cycles are in control, and this is the narrative that was appended to it. There currently sits $19 billion of short liquidations at $72,400 Bitcoin. So in this neighborhood, I see a whole heap of people looking for a retest of the lows to go long. I also see a whole heap of people calling for one final low, and then we can go. But I'm here to tell you, number one, the cycles do not support this, okay? The cycle lows should be in. We should not be looking to fail a cycle and make a new low here. And number two, markets love to climb a wall of worry. I think if we continue to squeeze this thing higher, whilst I'm open to a pullback, I do think if we continue to squeeze this thing higher, get through here, we could well be looking at the mother of all short squeezes, and that would be entirely normal and to be expected from a cycle perspective. Meanwhile, this cycle here in 2024 looks just like where we were back here in March of 2017. Okay, you can see we spent this purple circle here, chopping around the all-time high before entering price discovery, chopping around the all-time high before potentially entering price discovery. The MVRVZ score in this neighborhood looks identical to this neighborhood. We are getting ready, in my humble opinion, to see that squeeze to the top zone of the MVRVZ score. And again, I am here to say the only missing component of this entire hypothesis is Bitcoin setting that third and final fear-driven angle. We're certainly not out of the woods yet, but I think we're getting closer and closer every day. If we can see this morph into a look like this with Bitcoin breaking to the upside, then again, I'm here to tell you that everything is still going according to plan, despite all the bearish rhetoric out there. And the dollar continues to move lower. Okay, look at this. Lower high, lower low. Wild time to be alive. I wonder if we are going to get that thing where we see the dollar collapse into its 3-year cycle low. We can scratch this one off and then go deflationary bust thereafter. That would certainly give us the fuel to see Bitcoin set that third and final angle. It would also allow the stock market to squeeze significantly higher in its next daily cycle. Bitcoin, as I said, continues to climb a wall of worry. We should not be looking for these lows to be violated, in my humble opinion. And something akin to this, okay, chop around the all-time high and then third angle would make perfect sense, and again remains the only missing component of this entire base case hypothesis. The crypto related equities we have been conquering in the level 3 members section, they're all starting to look really, really good. They are all in significant profit, and we were using these crypto related equities, as well as about 8 or 9 other ones, as a leading indicator to be able to accurately confirm we had indeed got a cycle low in here, because these were not breaking down. They were not acting like the top was in for Bitcoin. All in this neighborhood, okay, everyone was so sure of themselves, and once we got into here, everyone got very, very toxic, and I was saying, no, the crypto-related equities do not believe that is the top, like all the bears and the top callers do. The crypto-related equities are acting like this is coming next. And so, again, I sit here and say, so far, so good. We're certainly not out of the woods just yet. Get above here, though, and I believe it is indeed party time. Gold, I'm in a weird situation with gold. I took this position and another one in the level 3 members section as of yesterday, and I have to respect that so far we've got invalidation for seeing another weekly cycle low decline. So when we trade above the prior all-time high, that confirms that this is indeed a week 16 cycle low. Now, when I said it was in a weird situation, I have to respect the breakout. I have to get long just in case this is what comes next, up to 3K-ish. But the reason this is a weird situation is I actually said to the members that I really hope I'm stopped out on both this position and the other position so that we can get a decline into a weekly cycle low, and then I'll be able to get behind a weekly cycle low over the next daily cycle, because that will give me the full daily cycle low to get behind at max exposure, and the 4% stop loss, well, it's 2 for this one and 2 for the other position I took, will be recovered by the time we get back to this all-time high level. So it's a weird situation because I've had to go against my intuition. I've had to just look at the chart, be objective, and respect the breakout. And again, it's a weird situation because I'm actually hoping to pay 2 stop losses here so that we can get a better entry lower down. But there's no good me sitting here being dogmatic, waiting for a cycle low that may already have been confirmed, given that we've got a trade above the prior high, because if 3K comes next, then I don't want to sit out and miss the entire move. So we got 2 positions on. Like I said, it's weird because I'm hoping to get stopped out, but I'm covered in either case, because if this thing rips, then fine, we got our exposure, and if it declines into a weekly cycle low, then we pay 2 stops, get behind this at full exposure, and by the time we're back here, we would have more than paid for those 2 stops with a full weekly cycle ahead and a run to 3K. So happy days there, long and strong, bit of a weird situation, but sometimes that's how it works out. The stock market continuing to respect its third angle, okay, continuing to move higher, feeling very, very blow off toppy. We're expecting a decline into a daily cycle low in the last week of this month. And then once we found that cycle low, the stop will get moved up. Potentially some more positions and exposure is going to be added. And we're going to start talking about truly committing to the third and final angle. So a wild time to be alive. So many top callers and doom posters and people that have been bearish the whole way up. The Nasdaq looking to potentially find a cycle low soon too. Again, we'll be looking to commit to third angles after we found it. Look at the Dow Jones, okay? Truly recovered its second angle now, almost looking ready to see that third and final angle come in. And even the Russell 2K starting to follow my arbitrary yellow squiggle at long last. So happy days, long and strong across the board. As you can see, things are largely speaking going according to plan. So happy days there. As ever, we'll just keep taking it one day at a time. We'll keep seeing what the market will give, and the Camel Crew will keep on staying on top. I'm your boy Camel. I hope you're doing well in life, and until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.